And we're back.
We're back.
Still here.
We're back with
episode 3 of our second season.
That's what it is. It is week 3. Mary, how are you doing?
I'm good. We're only like a little bit twins today. I feel like we're usually really twins, and today it's just the earrings.
Yeah, we're cycling through my pandemic wardrobe very quickly. It's very limited until I get my shipment from Old Navy that I rage bought a few weeks ago.
Nice. I have on a Target dress, but this is my 4th day wearing this dress.
It's very cute. I saw it on Instagram. It looks very, very nice.
Oh yeah, I saw it on Instagram 3 days ago. Okay, so I'm good. I just 15 minutes ago was bathing Finn, and my parents just came in town and we had a really fast dinner, and now we're here and I'm excited to be here.
Where are your parents right now when you're like, I'm ducking out to record a podcast?
They're unloading the car. Oh, so that was convenient timing on my part. I'm not helping unload, but I did make dinner. So at least there's
That's amazing. I feel like what you're doing right now is exactly what I feel like I'm doing all of the time, which is just like rolling out of one commitment to another commitment. Like I know we've talked about this before, but there's like no pause, no punctuation to any space. Like truly, while I was sitting down here, I was negotiating with my son who was trying to get me to go to put him to bed. And I was like, such a jerk, because he sees my evening commitments now that they're all at home, so I'm like, mommy has to do a podcast. And I was like, all right, dude, here's the plan. And I'm paying him in books. I was like, tomorrow night, me, you, bedtime, 2 books. He's like, sold.
He's like, great deal. I know. Oh, and I think Elena's here, so let's get her in.
All right, so we're gonna bring in one of our beloved guests from season 1. There she is. She's connecting the audio. I see the dots.
She can't hear us either yet, but she can see our happy faces.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes,
yes,
we can. Hi. Hello, Elena.
Hi.
It is
Thanks
so
for coming
good.
back.
Thanks for coming back to check in. We were just talking about the way I just bribed my son to go to bed without me putting him to bed, with the promise of a deluxe bedtime tomorrow night.
Yeah, I just didn't do it.
Is bedtime happening right now at your house?
Sort of. It happened a little bit before this, but it was like a whole bath time, hair washing, meltdown situation.
I went on mute briefly.
How dare I try to wash his hair? After he flipped out about that, I was just like, I can't possibly do this.
Fritzy's hair is so long that he walks around like this, but he won't let us cut it. And then he started to eat it because it's so long.
Yeah.
And he puts it in his mouth. I think we have to
I remember doing that as a child. It may be time. Finn won't let me cut his hair either, but I tried to last night while he was having his like milk before bed, because that was when he was distracted. And I was so distracted that I put his onesie on him without a diaper. And this morning, Lucas got him out of his crib, and then I woke up and he was like, so next time, remember to put the diaper on before you put the pajamas on, because he was soaking wet because he peed all over himself in the night. I can't believe he slept till 5 without a diaper on.
Yeah, I mean, if they're asleep, that's kind of impressive though. Yeah.
It is impressive. Like, I don't know when he peed on himself, but it couldn't have been that early.
Yeah.
I did that once. I took Iris to a bookstore event, and with a friend of mine who's like young and cool and doesn't have kids. And I was like, oh my God, it's totally chill to have kids. Like, I'm totally together. And then I went to change the diaper in the corner of the bookstore, by the bathroom with her, and was like, whoops, sorry. I've totally got it together. And I was like, we just don't diaper sometimes. She was like, oh my God, you've cracked.
We just don't diaper.
Anyway, Elena, how's it been going since we spoke 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Almost, year and a half.
If you had caught me pre-pandemic, I would have said, I'm crushing it. But post-pandemic, I don't know. Things are happening. I don't know. Yeah, it's been really interesting. I mean, I feel like the last time I spoke with you guys was before, it was sort of like after I had done one solo show that was like okay, but like not great. And then I was like doing my thing, like teaching and performing and like getting back into performing more so, which was great. And then, but it was like kind of like, I was still like really like had this drive to like work harder at it. And I feel like I was like doing a pretty decent job with all that stuff. I was like, oh, I was like teaching more and performing more. And like I did a second solo show, which like I felt like was way more what I'm like trying to do or what like was trying to do. And I say solo and I mean like solo as in like I was the producer and the writer, not like solo as in like I was the only human. I miss humans. I miss starting with humans. So sad. But yeah, but so I was like in a pretty good spot. And then like a bunch of like stuff all happened at once. Like even before the pandemic, like we bought this house and like that was a huge stressor. I mean, I'm so grateful for this house. I really am. But it's like, it was like a crazy like life change. And then Felix had a surgery, which was like kind of a lot, like health wise. And that happened like right pre-pandemic. And then like,
oh, wow.
And now I'm in that. So I'm kind of like,
oh yeah, that's a lot.
it's a lot of things. It was a lot of things at once. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's totally crazy. How are you guys? Are you guys okay?
Well, I heard did you do a show from your house?
I didn't do a show from my house. I did a piece from my house.
Okay.
So like from like performances, like the performances that I had been doing before, like I would say like the cabaret style work is like these kind of like 3 to 5 minute like discrete pieces that I'll do that fit the cabaret or like the burlesque form. So it's like, you know, within the context of like a song, it's like a tiny like mini like vignette or story, but like no more than 5 minutes usually. And I do that a lot and I love that kind of work. And so I did one of those, which was like fine. It was fine. It was like a little bit like, I was just like, yeah, it felt good to like make things in my house. But yeah, I mean, negotiating the time to be able to make things is impossible. It's just impossible. I just like, and I feel really like inspired right now, which is like almost like tragic. Like it feels like postpartum when I like had all this time to like be like, oh, but there's so many things. There's so many things that I like want to like reckon with and like make work about. And there's like so many things that I want to like do, and I have no time, no time to do them. And so it feels, and then that like adds to the trapped feeling, which is already like the trapped feeling because like I'm actually physically trapped. So, it's just like, it's like a lot.
Elena, I have to step in here and say, when you say you did it like a discrete piece in your home, I'd like, can you set up, because I think there's a wide variety of what is happening when people are doing shows from their homes. And like, particularly for someone like me, whose art is a lot more lo-fi, like it's me making sure that a light is on me and you can hear my voice. But what was in your living room? Can you describe, please?
So because like I'm an aerialist, basically.
Right.
So like my art is like movement. So, and specifically like movement with apparatus, like with prop. So I set up this crazy, like, it wasn't crazy. It was like I bought a squat rack on Amazon. I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to be working on Amazon, but it is just so fun. It really is.
It's so easy. I'm really trying.
It's so easy.
I was like, but where else am I gonna get this like power rack? So I bought this like squat rack without the squat like bar. So it's like a freestanding pull-up bar. It's about, I want to say like 6 or 7 feet. And then I like put my fabric, my silk in the middle of it. And I do a lot of like apparatus design, like in my show before. I like do a lot of apparatus design anyway, like experimental kind of apparatus design. So I took the silk and I like choked it on the top and like wove it around the thing. And so I did this kind of like spider webby type apparatus thing. And then I'm really into plastic It's like a reoccurring motif in all my shows. So I had all these huge plastic drop cloths like from before because I just hoard plastic. So I like put the plastic drop cloth over it, and then it was like kind of like a shadow play, like breakout type piece thing about being trapped. It was a little on the nose.
Wow.
I am trapped.
Wait, and you were in the silks, like you were doing aerial work.
I was doing aerial work in the thing, but like I wasn't doing like
incredible. Oh my God.
I was like it was like aerial adjacent.
That's amazing. And where did you broadcast it on? What did you broadcast it on?
So there's a bunch of these like pop-up cabaret shows that have been happening. And my friend, one of my really, really good friends, this woman, Brenna Bradbury, who's awesome, has this reoccurring live stream cabaret show called Let Them Eat Cake, which originally was like kind of like an amateur, not like, I don't mean like the show itself was amateur, but it was kind of like an amateur professional hybrid show. So it was like half student showcase or like advanced student showcase and then half like professional. But it's been one of the more well-attended virtual cabarets. And it's a weekly and it's cool. And
amazing.
That's what it was. I'm going to do it again. And then I hosted it one time and then I'm going to do it again. I asked Blake to collaborate with me to do it again, like in a month or so.
That's the other thing, not to be like your grandmother who's so proud of you, but also Elena and Blake collaborated on a show that was so amazing. But it's also, you know, we talk a lot about like how parenthood, which is also familyhood, changes the way that your creativity, you know, can form and can be together. And it was super cool to see the two of you being very much your very distinct personalities, but in one completely wild and brilliant show.
Yay.
Elena also, I'm just going to tell Elena's story for her. I communicate a lot with Elena right now, including because my body is again broken. This was a big thing that we talked about when we talked to you the last time, was about like what happens to your body, particularly for you who's a physical artist. But so I did a crazy phone a friend to Elena and I was like, will you please Zoom with me and help me fix what's wrong with my body? And now anytime I work out, I'm like, what did Elena say? Straighten this. Like I like have you like in my head every time I move my body.
Is that helping?
It is helping. I have some sadness because of my diastasis recti is like definitely coming. I screwed up and I jacked it up. And now I'm like bummed because I thought I was doing so well and I was really hurting myself, but that helped because you caught that. So yeah. I mean it's just so hard to deal with things like that. And like your body gets into like bad, not like bad, but like pathways that tend to damage it rather than help it. Like it's so hard to correct for those. Yeah.
Because that's the way your body is used to moving.
Yeah. And it's hard, all of this. Like I've never thought my body was not invincible until having a baby. And so then to have like, this is like bringing it all back. It's like, you're a little bit broken. Like you can't do crunches. You can't, you know.
Yeah.
That is how I feel.
Yeah. I also feel like that.
What are you doing now? Like physically to be yourself? Like you're a physical person. You create physically. What are you doing?
It's really hard to carve out the time to like train and to do work and to like work on my like physical self. What's really interesting about this whole period is that, I mean, like everyone who like works, like doing work that I do, whether it's like, you know, fitness instruction, if you want to like call it that, or like art for humans, or like any kind of like performance art, or like, you know, not even as like specific as like what I do specifically, which is like the aerial circus thing, but like we're all like, none of us have jobs for the foreseeable future. Like we all got laid off. We all have no jobs. And I think like beforehand I had kind of justified my physical training, like my time as like, okay, like whether or not this is making like art that people want to see, like at least like I'm a fitness instructor, so I'm getting paid to like do this thing, so I can justify spending the time to like maintain a certain level of fitness because it is my job and I am being paid for it. And now that's gone. So it's really interesting, and it's kind of like, it's really forced me to kind of realize that like now that compensation has been like irrevocably severed from like all art that I make, like I can no longer, I'm trying really hard to be able to just make art for that, just to be like, yeah, like it was never compensated effectively. I don't even know what, or like justly, I don't even know what that would look like a world in which the art were actually like compensated in a way that like made it worthwhile, or like was actually compensated like for its own self. Like I have never lived in that world, but I used to pretend that I did, kind of. And so now that it's like completely gone, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, that was my justification, but like, did I even need that? Or like, what was that justification? Like, is it even a thing that I needed? And now I'm like, I have to make the work, and I have to reckon with the fact that I had to make the work anyway for perhaps selfish reasons or perhaps not selfish reasons. I don't even know, but it just had to get done. And it wasn't because I was getting paid for it. It's like really hard, but it's like, yeah, that's where I'm at now. I'm like, I don't know.
That's so interesting.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I find myself falling into that. Like I say it, I catch myself with it. Like there was a time a long time ago, I was reading Fritzy a book, and he said something like, I don't want to hear you speak. And I said, like, off the top, I was like, well, people pay to hear me speak. Like that even makes it better, or that I'm better at doing it, or like that my kid should want to hear the rest of this book that he wasn't enjoying. But like someone else has tied like a monetary value to that. So like someone else needs it, has given it a value. So therefore it exists more in the world than it would otherwise. But that's wild. But are you getting outside? Are you doing everything in your home? Are you like using that bar all the time?
Like training? I mean, I bought an outdoor rig, like a very small one. So I've been like doing that. But the other thing, like I've been training on it, which is great. Like not every day, because like if it's raining, I can't do it. But like I've been like trying every now and again to like do it. But the other thing that's tragic about it is like now it's like not fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like now I'm like, well, I'm not making art with it really. Like there's no friends. Like that was the whole thing. It was like so social. Like I was like, I was like trading with my friends, and we would like bounce ideas off each other and be like, oh, like let's like do this thing. Oh, like this transitions into this thing. It was like an exchange of ideas, and now it's just like me doing pull-ups in my backyard.
Yeah.
Because pull-ups suck. I mean, you have to do them, but like
I'm just impressed you even can do pull-ups. I mean, of course you can. I
do many pull-ups. This is my one skill.
Well, I think
she can pull a hell of a lot up, Mary, like a lot.
No kidding. Well, I wish we didn't have to stop chatting so soon. I think our next guest is here, but we really appreciate you checking in with us, and I am really excited to see your next show virtually.
I'm going to post a photo of Elena in her rig in the show that I saw her do, because I was sitting on my couch like click, click, click with a phone, like not even a screen capture, like old school, like taking photos. So I'll post a picture of it.
I love the photos of Zoom the best. Those are like
those are the best.
Terrible. All right.
Bye,
thank you,
Elena.
for coming,
thank you again. It was so good to see you.
Bye, friends.
Zoom always has that also slightly delayed departure, which is slightly awkward. Hi.
Our next guest is here. Hi.
Hi, David. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I also keep forgetting that this is technically an audio experience, even though we are putting it on YouTube.
I will not look at you at all.
No.
Yeah, so this is our guest, David Josefsberg. Am I saying your last name correctly?
Perfectly. You said all the S's. A lot of people don't.
Which one did they skip?
They say Josefsberg. They don't do
right.
Josefsberg, and I
guess there are only two S's. The first one would be a weird one to skip.
Joefsberg.
Right.
Joefsberg.
Yeah. And David is an actor you live in Jersey, right?
Yep, South Orange, New Jersey.
And it sounds like you have a big.
No, I don't want to tell you.
Please tell us your exact address. And you have two. We hear one of your dogs.
I decided to do this just in the living room, just in
Perfect.
case we have just normal life happen. Shelby, I'm in a very important meeting. Shelby.
This is perfect. This is what all of our guests do, and I feel like we get a real taste of what the podcast is about, right?
So we have 3 states represented here, which is really exciting. This is why we had this pandemic, so we could really start representing all areas of the United States.
State lines.
I am in Brooklyn, which is a state. No, I'm in New York.
State of mind.
It is.
State of mind. And I am in Nashville.
Oh, nice.
But I was in New York for a long time. I've been in Nashville for about 10 months.
Nice, very good.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead, Kate.
Oh my God, you know me so well. You can make a face. Well, I was going to ask about the dog. So I have a dog. He's a Chihuahua. He's 14. He's old as hell. But right when my son was born, he obviously lost his mind, and he would bark all of the time. And like, I think some of it is like we talked about in the last episode, postpartum rage. Like I just had rage, but then like the idea of extra sound in your house when you have children is like such a but the way I would hear myself yell about, or like what I would feel my body do when he barked and the baby was napping, like you just like light on fire and grab the dog and I would like hold him in the air. This is going to put us on the map. I'm going to have PETA after me. But anyway, so I'm glad to see you react so calmly to Shelby the dog. You're a better person than I am.
Just for the YouTube book. Shelby! No, I'm just stop. I do have I just cooked some barbecue chicken and some turkey burgers, so maybe she's like, hey.
Oh, nice.
Give me some of that. Shelby, can you go outside? Should I put her outside? I'll put her outside for a
Put her outside. Mary and I will just chat.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does reminds me of being so angry when people would make noise at night when Finn was young. Like when I was living in Queens, I would just like get up, and Lucas would say like, go back to bed, because I would just stare out the window with hate, like at people making noise. They would just be talking on the street, but I'd be like, I hate them.
Meanwhile, it's like 8:30 at night. Because you're like,
not even 9. Right.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. So David, how old are your kids now?
I have 2 kids. One is 15 and one is 12.
Gotcha. And they are both boys? They're both boys?
Boys.
Great.
So tonight I said, listen, because my wife is on a podcast, she's on a podcast or something.
At the same time?
And I'm on this, and I'm like, okay, you get off Fortnite for 45 minutes. They're like, no, it works, it's fine, everything works. I'm like, until I'm and I'm
right.
Take a moment, just a little couple of seconds.
No.
Do they think it's so cool that their parents are like doing podcasts from the home? Or what do your kids think of you, who has like an arguably very cool job, an actor? Like, do they think that you are cool?
Well, one's 15, so obviously not. No. He doesn't think anything I do. He's okay, but the 12-year-old, we do a lot of singing together. So he, in fact, right before this, we did a little TikTok.
Oh, fun!
And, he's a really good singer, so he sort of thinks it's cool because he's getting a lot of attention from my fans on his.
Nice. That's fun. That's fun.
But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to be a CSI. Okay.
Okay.
Better.
Great.
Wait, what is a CSI?
A TV show.
It's a TV show.
Oh.
Would be a TV actor, but it's what are the initials stand for? Oh gosh.
Criminal scene investigation.
Crime scene investigation.
Crime scene investigation.
He wants to be a real crime scene investigator, or he wants to be a TV actor?
Well, he said number 1, he'd like to be a real crime scene investigator.
Oh, a real one.
2,
gotcha.
TV CSI.
Oh, okay.
Like,
that would be the backup.
If people won't let me do it, I'm going to pretend to do it.
I'll show you. You
right. Right.
Oh, and so David, what were you up to pre-pandemic?
That was going to be my question, Kate. We were asking the same question.
Same question.
Pre-pandemic, I was ensconced in Beetlejuice, the musical on Broadway. One of the best jobs I've ever had. And we were about to film a movie of it.
Oh man.
Not of the show itself.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's where I was. I was on Broadway doing the show, commuting every day, and although not seeing my family and children very much. So
yeah, we do get a lot of family time right now. So
Yeah.
can you tell us, like, how did things play out for you? Like, because Mary and I have talked about this, like, you know, for me, I was like, oh, we talked about it. I was on a trip, landed March 11th, and I was like, oh, March 11th, everything changed. Like, it felt suddenly, even though there was a conversation. Was it sudden for you, or can you just tell us a little about that?
Sure. Well, it was sudden, but no one, I mean, we thought, okay, so we'll take a tiny little time off and we'll come back. But so the sudden became, wow, like this, are you going to do this to me all night, Shelby Ray? So it became, I mean, it was, I would say it was sudden, but then it just became like a slow burn.
So how was it? Did you come off stage one night and they were like, don't come back tomorrow?
No, I'm trying to remember. I think we had strangely enough, we had a day off, and it started on.
It was like that's what we said, March, like
March 11th was a Thursday, but then I think it was like Monday when the world officially shut down or something. Right. So whatever that was, yeah.
Somehow we had a day off on Wednesday. We changed the schedule.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were like, oh, we're going to go back on Thursday. We had the day off, and then we were just told we were still. That's what it was. Okay, now I remember. So it was about 2:00, and we're like, we don't know what's happening. It's 3:00 on Thursday. We don't know what's happening. 4:00. 5:00 even, and finally they were like, okay, we're not coming in today. Okay, so maybe it'll be this, maybe it'll be the weekend, maybe it'll be what? Oh, it's years now? Okay. Still, friends of mine got together on that Friday night and played poker. A lot of the Broadway people out here, because we still really
know. Yeah.
It was this thing, and now it's this. Now we play poker online.
Yeah.
Yeah, days before, I mean, it was March 8th. My law school friends all came into Nashville from San Francisco and Salt Lake City and New York, and we just like had a weekend. And we look back on that now and we're like, wow, that was a bad idea. But we didn't know that.
Yeah, we were like literally 9 people in Leslie Crutcher's house. She's a Broadway star, and we had all just been in the city, like on the subways, and someone actually, we found out from the theater, had it during that time. So
oh wow,
who knows?
Yeah.
If we've had it already or have the antibodies. I'm trying to get my family tested this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were like, don't come in. And then what is the communication now? You were set to close, right?
So we were set to close on June 6th. And but we were maybe going to move to another theater.
Right.
And so we've kept, they kept us thinking that we might possibly go back to the Winter Garden first. Then we got the message a few weeks later. We were doing Zoom calls once a week. Then they're like, okay, we're going to announce closing. And now, they're still up in the air of whether we may go back to another theater, because what other shows can now get ready and go into these theaters?
Mm-hmm.
Something proven like Beetlejuice may make it back someday, 2029 or something.
Mm-hmm.
No. What do you feel? What is your sense for when you feel you might go back? Or when do you feel you might be comfortable getting into a theater of hundreds of people?
And kissing people on stage and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. They mentioned maybe January. I don't see that particularly happening, but maybe sometime early next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you like dealing with that or thinking that through? I mean, what is you have other things going on, right?
Okay. So me personally, first of all, my wife's job is still happening.
Yeah.
So she's a wellness coach. She used to work for Weight Watchers, and then she wrote a book and wrote her own plan. So she has her own sort of like a wellness company. So
cool.
that's needed right now. I need help with that. You can't see. I'm keeping you below.
Upper torso only.
Upper torso only. I'm actually not wearing pants.
Fine.
No one is.
I am. But I am actually taking some courses I took a course to become a health coach. I'm a personal trainer. And I'm actually taking a course to be a leader of breath work, which is something that calms you and it releases things. It's pretty amazing. I started doing it about 3 months ago, and it's changed my life. So I have something that I'm working towards, and I'm really enjoying this time to be able to do that. The 2 minutes I have in between, like being the chef and everything else that I do with the children.
I know your kids have been in school at home over the past few months. Yeah.
Supposedly, yes.
Yeah. In theory.
Today, my son said, I was going to meet my friend at 8 and do our homework. And at 8:50, he said he was finished. 50.
That's pretty fast. That's good. Good for him.
He might just be doing that well at school. We can believe that.
That's how I'm going to frame that.
Yeah. He's doing that well.
I mean, breath work sounds amazing. I didn't know, I obviously know like breath work is a thing, but I didn't know it was a thing in the sense that it's something you could do outside of, yoga or a different context.
Me neither. I had never heard of it, but so every Sunday there's this guy who's really fantastic, John Paul Creamy, and me and a lot of my friends have been doing the breath work on Sundays, and he has courses to be able to learn how to teach it, and it's you basically just breathe into your stomach, breathe into your chest, and breathe out. And you just keep doing that for like 6 or 7 songs. He leads you through these songs, and I can't even explain the feeling. It's like am I allowed to say like you're?
Yeah, say whatever you want.
Honestly, this
like
is the internet.
It's the highest you've ever been. It's you can change things in your life and feel things that you've never felt.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I gotta try this.
And you started it pre-pandemic, and then it became your savior. Yeah. That's pretty great.
It was pre-pandemic. Now it is all pandemic.
That is really cool.
That is amazing.
So it sounds like, and you're singing you're making TikToks with your son.
This almost 50-year-old man is making TikToks with his son. His younger son, not the older one would have nothing. Although he does like the TikToks usually.
That's good.
But it's actually super fun to get the time to sing with him, and he really enjoys it. And we're playing. I'm literally seeing them 4 times as much as I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah. The other day, I asked my son what he wanted to do, and meanwhile, all I do is stress about my son. I have 2 kids; they're 5 and 2, and it's my son that's 5. So I'm like constantly worried about how this is affecting. My son's very social, but he's not socializing with his friends, and I just this is where I call my anxiety like piles of sticks that you put places, and right now the sticks are all worrying about like my firstborn child. So I'm like, but it's anxiety mostly. So I'm like, buddy, what do you want to do like this weekend or on Monday or something? And he was like, well, I've already done. He was like, I designed a popsicle stick bridge and made it. I made a helicopter. We planted tomatoes. Like he just starts listing all of the, like we have the snails, all the stuff that my husband keeps like creating to make homeschooling interesting. So he's just like, and you're home every day. Like, I don't know. I've done it all. Like,
what more could I want?
How are you getting them to do all of these things?
It's my husband. I am not really homeschooling. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm not involved, but I spend most of my days on Zoom. And
doing exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I just literally talk to people about their feelings all day and all night. No, and then he and my husband do I have a teal picnic table now because they painted the picnic table teal.
Oh, that's great.
My wife actually gave my children a great project. So if people want to hear about this.
Oh, I want a tip.
Our schooling is good, but they finish it rather quickly, and they're bright kids. But so she made up a rubric of like 14 different things, and they had to choose a topic of maybe what their career might be. Then interview people in their chosen field, tell us the history of that field, and do like a presentation of it. And she said 20 minutes. I said, honey, it booked 20 minutes for a 6th grader and a 9th. And she was like, okay, I'll make it 10. And they each actually ended up going up over 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
One did a little play. One did a rap. So one decided to do Fortnite. So he did the history of Fortnite. He put up a thing of Fortnite. Do you know what Fortnite is?
It's a video game?
It's a video.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
We play with your friends, and it could sometimes there might be a bit of violence occasionally. So he put up some videos of it, and he was being a broadcaster of it. He wrote a rap and he wrote a song. Then my other son did a scene of the CSI. He interviewed a real CSI and Barrett Foa, who's a Broadway guy who's a friend of mine who's in NCIS. And so my son was like, and so what's the difference between an NCI, like a guy who's on TV and who's not?
Oh my gosh.
And they really they did this project. And they performed in front of us. They got dressed up because you get points for dressing. And we bribed them. They said if whoever wins doesn't have to do the dishwasher for a week and gets to choose all the snacks for a week.
Oh. So it was a competition between the two of them.
And you were killing homeschooling.
They were both so good that they each won actually $50 and they both got the snacks.
Because you're paying your kids.
If we pay them, I know they'll do another one maybe.
See, this is the benefit because my kids are younger. We don't really talk about money. My son doesn't fully understand money. Like he will bring me literally a stack of dimes and be like, look at all of this money. When the virus is gone, I can buy so much. And I'm like, but I did one time. I don't want to make him think about money before he has to, like for all of the reasons that you might think. But I was so frustrated one time. I was like, I will pay you 8 cents if you pick up your sister's shoes. And he was like, 8 cents.
Yeah, I'm like, I will give you 8 cents. He's like, you better make that $80.
Right. I can't believe they would. Well, now that I know it's a competition, it makes a little more sense because they were like wanting to beat the brother.
Well, and the 12-year-old was working so hard, and I was helping him, and I was 15, like not showing nothing, not doing anything, and being not showing that he's going to do anything, and
secretly he's like hard at work,
rushing it.
And he sort of won because the young guy, forgot a couple of questions, but you know.
That's so you guys had like an event where so was it just you and your wife in the audience?
Yeah.
And they
would have had grandparents if we could, but we videoed and we sent them.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
You would have filled the house. You definitely would have sold out, but
it certainly would have been a sellout.
Yeah,
it does remind me, my mom, I hadn't thought of this in a long time, and I hadn't thought of it in a very long time until you were just describing your wife coming up with that idea. I remember that my mom used to discipline us by making us write essays. So instead of getting like grounded or like sent to our rooms, I would have to write an essay, which is maybe why I became a writer.
Thanks, Mom.
But I was caught smoking cigarettes, and I had to write an essay on smoking cigarettes, and I wrote it from the point of view of the cigarette. I thought I was so clever.
I wouldn't mind a copy of that. I'd like to read it.
Is that creative nonfiction? Is that what they call that? Is that what that? I can never quite understand what creative nonfiction is, even though it's been as someone who works in the nonfiction world, and it has been explained to me 1,000 times, and I still don't understand it. But I think that might be what it is.
That might be creative nonfiction, and my mom probably still does have a copy.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
My dad used to sit with me. I played the piano from when I was like 5, which is crazy because I can't imagine my son taking piano lessons. I was like 18, and those early years I was like very serious about it. Mm-hmm. But because my dad would sit with me and practice and play the piano. But we started to like fight, because he just pushed me so hard. So one time he was like, I need you to play that piece one more time. And I was like, I don't want to play the piece one more time. He was like, I will hold my breath until you play the piece. So he holds his breath, and I'm like, and he's just like turning purple until finally I looked at him and I was like,
okay,
plink. And I played one note and he was like, I've made a terrible parenting decision. My daughter is a sociopath.
Yeah, at what point in that process was he like, I don't know if this was the best way to
I read it in his eyes. I could see him being like, I have made a terrible mistake.
She's not gonna do it. She's not gonna do it.
This is how it ends.
But I'm gonna hold out.
So wait, can we go back in time a little bit though? Because this is a podcast where we talk a lot about excuse me, being parents of children and sort of a lot of what changes when you become a parent. particularly as creative people. So can we go back 15 years ago? What was life like for you, or 16 years ago?
Oh, so easy. So easy. We didn't realize how easy it was, did we?
No.
God, staying up till 2, 3 in the morning, waking up at 11, watching Sports Center 3 times, because why not?
You might have missed something.
Yeah, let me just make sure I'll see that again. No, it was so easy.
Remember those, I brought this up to Lucas the other day. Remember those weekend, it would be like a Sunday and you'd be like, I don't know what's going to happen today. Like you'd like go to brunch and it would be like brunch could turn out to be 7 hours. It didn't matter.
Totally didn't matter.
You might end up at someone else's house who you don't know. I don't mean like to hook up. This isn't going in that direction. Oh, Shelby.
Is it Shelby?
Shelby, say hi. Come here. Shelby, come here.
Shelby is really beautiful.
Yeah, Shelby's gorgeous.
She's not to objectify her, but.
You know what? You're a pretty girl. She's also very smart. Moving around.
She could be a CSI, but yeah.
So anyway, sorry, you were saying
So life was very easy. Where were you living?
Okay, so we first lived at 108th Street in Manhattan, my wife and I. Then we moved to Astoria in a rental. Then we moved to Jackson Heights, Queens, and ate a lot of Indian food.
Yep.
All the time. And moved to another place there, and then had the first kid. And then I think we had our second kid out in Jackson Heights too. And then we moved to South Orange, New Jersey.
And you were acting at the time. Were you acting?
Yes, I was acting. We actually, here's a funny story. My first child, we induced a week early because I was doing the Altar Boys off-Broadway show. And also then I had to fly to Vancouver to play the Fonz in the TV Mork and Mindy story. The Fonz knows how to deal with situations. So I literally induced my baby a week early and I left. Oh man, I don't know how I'm still married. I left my wife the second day that she was in the hospital.
No.
And
you were like, this is done.
What podcast is she doing? I want to get her over to our podcast to talk about.
Now she's doing her own course. She wrote a book called Target 100, and she's leading a weight loss course.
Oh, amazing! I was going to ask. It's Target 100 is what it's called. Okay, nice.
She worked at Weight Watchers. She helped people like Jennifer Hudson and Charles Barkley and Jessica Simpson.
Oh, wow.
Like more things. Look at my dog. She's eating, going right through. She just ruined all of my peppers. Nope.
Oh no! Oh no!
Look at her
Not
face.
The peppers.
Look at her face.
No!
I literally don't know what to do right now.
Oh my god!
No.
Oh my god! What do we do? Can she eat dirt? Can dogs eat dirt?
Oh, she can eat dirt. I just let it go. See, parenting and dog parent and. Wow.
Has she ever dug up your peppers like that before?
Yeah, she's dug up. She has done. Oh my god. Some things. Oh my god.
Shelby.
Well, let's just continue. We'll just leave her out there and figure this out later.
Do you need to deal with the peppers?
No! I mean, the peppers are ruined. They were my hot peppers, and they're all ruined.
Oh, she might be ruined too. Can she eat hot peppers?
There were no peppers there yet. They're just
they were getting there, and then she went after it. She was acting out. Shelby was mad that you're doing
Shelby is mad.
You don't normally do podcasts at night. We spend time on our couch.
She was lashing out. Listen, I am sorry. I understand because I just planted a bunch of peppers, so I know how you feel right now. I would be very upset.
So sad. It's okay. Let's. I'm gonna let it go, and we're gonna.
Okay.
Oh, right. I want to get a still of Shelby with that dirt on her face. She is amazing. Wait. Okay. So let's go back. So you're in Altar Boys. You're about to go be the Fonz. You induced the baby.
Induced the baby a week early.
She has the baby. What is the last conversation you have in the hospital? Can you recreate that hospital?
I'm sure it was, no, I love you so much. And my dad and your dad are going to take you guys home. I'm going to fly to Vancouver and just, be the fines, have a good time filming. You take care of feeding the baby. I'm sure it'll be nice to see your first time.
Right. Oh my God. How long were you gone?
Just a couple days. But then I came home and then I had to, literally, we were about to start previews for Altar Boy. So I was working, doing that at night with our, no, we can't talk about that. And then, so I come home and, have to be a dad too.
Yeah, and with the lack of sleep and everything too, right then.
It was like, I think I was 35 years old trying to be an altar boy and not sleeping, and it was like, what's happening to me?
Yeah.
Did you like it in the beginning? I mean, I know obviously like it's like hell with the sleep deprivation, but like, did you feel like, were you excited to be a parent?
Super excited. I wouldn't know how to have a life without having children. My parents were always a house that people always came to. Actually, my mom was a teacher, and she brought all of her students come home and then adopted one of her students, and he became my brother, and his name is David. And he took my name's David, and he took my room. I was in college. It was fine.
Wait, have you ever read Too Many Daves? It's a very good poem by Roald Dahl. There was an old woman named Mrs. McCabe who had 23 sons, and she named them all Dave. I'll send it to you. It's so good. Yeah, it's like my favorite poem as a kid, and now my son loves it. It's very funny.
Now she's trying to eat tomatoes, but that's okay.
Do you want to get this dog is very angry.
She didn't get the tomatoes. That's why I'm watching her. I'm keeping a dad eye on her.
Oh no.
Okay.
Didn't George Foreman name all his children George Foreman?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Or George Foreman. Yeah, George. Yeah, he did do that. So you have this kid, you're in Altar Boys, and then, and you're not sleeping, but you're liking it. And then did you feel like you brought any piece of parenthood into your work aside from exhaustion?
Oh my God. Yeah, I feel like it changed my, what's the word? It's not compassion, not vulnerability. It's more like, I mean, not necessarily in Altar Boys, but in everything else, it just changed my, it's not just, I'm an important, everything about me and the actor and this, it's, okay, I get it. This is life and it's not about me. And I think it helped so much to also take some of the pressure. There's some more pressure of trying to make money, but there's less pressure of, it has to be for me. I have to do this. I have to, I don't know the exact word I'm looking for. It's
like ambition changes or something.
Like, you know what?
Yeah.
It helped me create a career, which is, I play leads. I played a lot of great leads. But you know what? I'm also going to take a job where I am a standby so I can have more time with the kids, or I'm going to take this, or I'm going to take that. And it made it more like, it made it easier for me, I feel like.
That's interesting.
It's great because you might think it wouldn't. And actors are like, no, it would make it so hard. It would make it so, and your shoulders up and you're like, no, but if you just like are living a life and that's a part of your life, then like, it becomes easier in my opinion.
Yeah. Were you nervous before that would happen? Like, was that a fear of yours that it would adversely affect your career?
No, but I'm like, I have two sons. One is the older one who would be thinking like that. And the other one who's like, oh, what's this over here? Oh, okay, I'll do this. Oh, a fluffy dog. And I'm more like that son of mine. So, we'll see what happens.
Was your wife at the time, was she a fitness professional then, or was she also an actor?
Okay, so I met her doing Les Miserables. She was a Cosette understudy and I was a Maris understudy, and we went home together. And
oh wow,
her story, she felt this rush, and I didn't necessarily feel it at the moment. But then, wait, people can watch this later, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I bumped into her on stage, you're gonna edit that. It was a miracle. And then we were friends, and later on we fell in love. And she didn't love the business. She's got an analytical mind, and she was like, I like to do things, work hard, and get paid for them.
Yeah.
So she worked literally as a like signing people in at Weight Watchers, making $18 an hour. And she lost weight herself after having a baby. And then she went from there to then being a leader. And then she took care of the CEO of Weight Watchers. And then he sent her and then she started taking care of all the stars. And then that happened. And then she wanted to do more. And then she launched her own company. And
What a cool trajectory. Wow.
It certainly helps me and my hobby slash career for her to have this job where she's making a living.
Yeah. Like that's,
it's a nice
that's
balance
amazing.
for both of us.
Right.
To have these two things. And now my career helps with her people because she has all these clients. And for some reason, every one of her clients is a huge Broadway fan. So now we go and do, my wife sometimes has this event where she takes people to Italy, and at nights, what do? We sing Broadway shows.
Oh, that's so fun.
In Italy? That's heaven. Tell me, be real, how many times do you guys like pull out the old Les Mis cast album and sing together?
Well, so we don't pull out the album, but we do pull out the music, and we also have another group of friends where we go up to Vermont and we sing, and literally every single year we have to sing Les Mis.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that he's like, Kate, I don't need the freaking album. I can accompany myself.
No, I'm a terrible piano player, but it's more fun when you're drunk. And we live out here. It's funny. We live out here in South Orange, and probably 12 to 15 people of friends of ours who were in Les Mis live out here with us.
Oh my gosh.
So we could really sing up a storm out here.
Have you seen the thing that went viral of the family that does
so good?
I mean, I'm sure it's been sent to you 1,000 times. Mary, have you seen this? It's this
I have.
family. It's like
British family.
Yeah, and they're like, this is just what we have to do to get through. And honestly, it seems so quaint because it feels like I saw that 2 years ago, and I'm like, no, that was a response to quarantine. Like,
yeah,
that was
it was about a month ago, and it feels like it was years ago.
It feels like, every
time
day
has bent and broken in half, I think.
Yeah.
We always do. Can I ask this now? This thing, and I say always. We've done it once, David, but if you do it twice, it's
we always
something that Mary and I do.
I was like, I don't even know what she's gonna say because I don't know what we always do.
Very exciting.
What do we always do?
This is very juvenile. You'll remember from when you had younger kids. Do you know the roses and thorns? What's your rose and what's your thorn of the week? What's your good thing and what's your bad thing of the week? So I want to know what yours is. You can say, listen, it can be of the day, of the week, or of pandemic.
I'm gonna say I have. Can I give you like 15 roses?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I really think it is. I mean, the thorn is right now that as soon as we're done with it, I have to clean a white dog like filled with black all over her. So that's my thorn. I mean, that's like a little thorn. Who cares? My rose is, oh God, like singing with my son. We've been playing a lot of basketball, horse outside, getting to do dog walks with my wife. My parents actually came social distance yesterday, so I got to see them. Getting to cook, getting to see literally every single cast I've ever been in has a what are we on? A Zoom meeting.
Like a Zoom meeting? Oh.
Like that's occasionally. So occasionally, one or two of those could also be thorns because sometimes you're like, really? Do I haven't seen you in 17 years. So that's a thorn rose. What else? Oh, I get to play online poker, and you don't have to travel to people's homes and come back home.
Ooh, yeah.
So many roses.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. That's a whole bouquet. Thank you so much.
That's a whole bouquet.
That's a whole bouquet. Mary, what are your rose and thorns?
Well, my rose. This thing that we always do, Kate, I feel like I always have the same rose lately. It feels like such a cliche. Well, my last rose was my herb garden. Today's rose is I made a lemon turmeric pound cake that is incredible.
Oh.
So that is like a COVID cliche.
You're totally COVID baking.
Are you mocking me with the planting that you did that you
I just know if any creature had pulled up those peppers, I would have cried. I think I would have stopped the podcast.
Well, she's pulled up other things, and I was like, thank God I have this whole hot pepper garden. And it's thing.
No.
I wasn't drinking.
Maybe they're salvageable. I don't know. They might be.
How about you? What about your rose? Oh, wait, did you do your thorn?
And what's your thorn?
I've had a pretty good day.
What about your week, Mary? Be real.
My thorn is that last night, my son peed all over himself in his sleep because I forgot to put a diaper on him when he went to bed. And I was not drinking. That's not what happened. But it's actually also a rose because he turned out, he actually somehow managed to sleep through the night without a diaper on, which is kind of a miracle. So we can call that a rose.
Love it.
Amazing.
Okay, what about you?
I thought about this and then I had a bunch and I hadn't chosen. Okay, so here's my thorn. So we have rented a car, which has been really great. We've been taking adventures. I've never owned a car in my life, so this is such a novelty and it's great with 2 kids. So we were coming back, we went to the beach and ran around the beach and we were driving back and I was like so happy to show, and I'm just narrating the whole time because we're finally getting out of our neighborhood. So we're driving and I'm like, hey bud, we're driving through the cemetery in Rich, and I'm like, do you know what this is? This is a cemetery. And my husband's like, what are you introducing to our 5 and 2-year-old? And I was like, yeah, this is where when people die, this is where their bodies go. And my husband's like, why are you instigating? And then my son's like, oh, and he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, no, they dig up the ground and they put their dead body. And then I was like, and then I'm a jerk. I was like, but that's not the only thing that happens when you die. People choose other things. And Jason's like, stop. My son's like, what else? And I'm like, well, you can be cremated or you can be burned into ashes.
And he's 5.
And my son's eyes are like this big. He's just like, oh, and what else? And then I'm like, what else can I say? And I was like,
turned into a ring, turned into a gemstone.
Well,
isn't that what you want?
You know that. I have a gemstone, not of ashes, but of breast milk. Sorry if that takes us to another place. I will take you there. Yep, of my first son. It's a life gem. Anyway, my first son, my only son, my first child. No, so then I brought it back with organ donation. I was just like, another thing you can do is give someone your heart. And I just like was silent and didn't because then he's going to be like, well, how do you give the heart? But he didn't. Like I left it on the good of organ donation. But like I voluntarily was like, y'all want to know about cremation?
You were just so happy to be out of the house. You were like,
I was just like, I'm so excited to give my children a life, like to do something good for them during this, my 2-year-old is aware that there's a deadly virus in the world. That's like devastating, like I'm like putting a mask on her. It's terrible. So that was my thorn. What's my rose? I wanted to do a creative rose, but those were sort of, no, I did write something for the first time. I've written something, or I'm starting to write something about this experience that is not satire. That's like, you know what I mean? That's not like satire fueled rage or like rage turned into satire. It's like actually, I don't know. It could be terrible, but it feels very good to be doing it and feeling like I have something to say that is more than pointing out despair.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a great rose. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know.
I love that one.
Well, thank you. Or don't you love this every time we do it, Mary?
I really do now that it's a thing.
Every single time.
Every time. And I'm starting thinking about them in advance. Well, thank you, David, so much. This was such a pleasure. I'm really sorry that because of our podcast, you may have sacrificed your pepper garden.
No, this should be the final image, right?
Oh. You need to get CSI on that. Figure out what happened.
There's some dog paws there, and your pepper garden is ruined. I believe it was Shelby Ray.
And she's just watching innocently with her nose.
Total
with
nose.
her black nose.
What?
Her nose was so dark.
Can I give one more thorn? She wakes up at 5:30 every day.
Oh, that's tough.
Is she young? Is she a baby?
She's a baby, but not a pandemic baby. She was before the pandemic.
Mm.
Yeah. Bet you're glad you have her now.
Actually, I am glad because if I were doing a show, then I would have thorns every single morning and night.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I need to sleep. How dare you make me get up at 5:30 with the dog?
Right.
It's not all rose.
Yeah.
There we go. We got a couple thorns in that bouquet. All right. Well, we're going to check out your TikTok and post some of your TikToks. I'm so excited to see them. That means I have to find TikTok.
Me too.
It's not for people my age, but I happen to be there.
We're gonna come find you and your son.
Sweet.
Thank you, David.
I'm hoping for many more roses for you ladies.
Oh, thank you. Many more roses to you.
Have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Good night.
The pup. Bye.